Our intuition can come up in different ways. And one of the ways it can come up is so random, and it can be about things that don't necessarily matter to us. It's just a knowing about something out of nowhere. So here's a classic example, and this has happened to me several times over the years, where I pick up on an invention that is about to come out, or something new that's about to come out, or a person in the public eye, even just a small public figure who is about to make a change, or is not quite revealing something yet, but they're preparing to, or they're having difficulties speaking up about it. Here's an example of that actually that comes to mind. A public figure who is very spiritual and is known for things like connecting with galactic beings and so on, and down that kind of pathway. And I had just known about them just from YouTube, like we know many spiritual figures from YouTube, right? Whether or not we watch their videos or whatever. And I hadn't watched them for quite some time. And then all of a sudden it came into my consciousness to just check in. And sometimes I watch certain people who I'm a little bit unsure about as well. And just seeing like what's happening, what's the vibe like, are they aligned and on the path or not? All sorts of things. But with this particular person, just briefly started watching some of their recent stuff, and I could tell like something's brewing under them. It's like they're not fully sharing the changes in their spirituality that they are going through. And with this particular person, as they're becoming more connected with Jesus and God energy and that kind of thing, and not quite expressing it, or feeling like all of their viewers will suddenly not like it and things like that, even though God and Jesus is very aligned and very true and very pure. Anyway, and then back and forth, give a little bit more time, a few months go by, and now they're constantly talking about this. And so what I could sense, so firstly it was just sensing to check in on this person and what's going on. Then it was something they're holding back. They're not fully expressing what they want to say. And then it was, oh, here's the thing. And yeah, it's really interesting. So the one I wanted to talk to you about today, though, was a typical one where it just comes into your consciousness. You don't even always know it's intuition. It could just be a thought. So when I needed to do my groceries, I'm at home and it was just crossing my mind, do I go in, do I do it online, blah, blah, blah. And then I remembered there's a click and collect option for this supermarket, meaning you can order it online, and then instead of it being delivered, you drive to their allocated car spaces for click and collect, and you wait for a little bit, and then they bring it to you and off you go. Anyway, this supermarket has had that for at least 5 or more years. And I'd only done it like once or twice. Anyway, it's just crossing my mind. Don't normally think about it. Ended up doing my groceries as normal, whatever. Anyway, a week later, go to do my groceries again. And it just came into my consciousness as I pictured driving to the spot and waiting in the car. I just remember thinking, why do they have their car space there? They should move it. Like, it's really busy there, it's tight spots, it's annoying when you're driving past it and you're trying to get like a normal car park. Just thoughts in my head, and then I went on with my day. Then a week later, I go to do my groceries, and as I'm driving, I think again about the click and collect car spaces. And then I think to myself, yeah, if they were to move it, where would be the ideal spot? And in my mind, I picture the ideal spot. Further along on the other side, there's a little gap. Just goes by my mind. Anyway, park the car, and as I'm walking through the car park, I walk past the click and collect area, and it's gone. It's completely gone. And I'm like, oh my God. I go, let me check that area that went into my head of where I think it should be. And I walk there, and that's where they are putting it. They've literally moved it to the spot that I thought. I just laughed to myself thinking, wow, there's a classic example of picking up on the energy of it and just it coming into my consciousness. And this is often how intuition will work. It drops in as a thought. And so you think it's just your normal thoughts because you have a lot of them, right? And it's funny too, because, well, do I really need to know it? Okay, it might be handy at another time, but really I don't need to know about where the car park is and that kind of thing. I don't really use it, or not very often. But I've had quite a few instances of things like that. And so I thought to share it with you, for you to think, that's happened to me, and it seems so odd or bizarre, or I just brushed it off or whatever. But when you get hits like that, it's there for a reason in a way, even if it doesn't make sense, because it's to alert you. Sometimes it's to help you out, like, okay, next time I know it's there, or cool. Other times it's just, this is how your intuition grows. And they're like puzzle pieces. And when you get a hit like that, it opens you up and it shows you, not only are you being quite alert maybe at the moment, and maybe you're being a little bit extra intuitive, maybe the energies are coming in to support intuition. Maybe it's showing you, oh, well, what else are you thinking about that's coming into your consciousness that is your intuition? And how did it feel? How did it drop in? Were you sort of in a little bit of an altered state of consciousness? Because I think that I was, because it was like when you're driving, you're in this altered space, and I often get downloads of information and intuitions then. So something to think about. Let me know instances that you've had like that. I'll often just think about someone like a spiritual figure online, like I said prior, but I've had other ones that, and I go to visit their channel and see what's going on because I'm just feeling something, and then something significant happens, or they've made a significant change, and it's just there to alert me in some way, because there's something in that I might relate to myself, or that it's just to know what's going on in the spiritual community, or to understand on the things on a higher, wider perspective. So here's another example, and I think I might make another video about this topic, I'm not sure, but you might know the person David Wilcock, who is very known in the spiritual community. Also, he had documentaries on Gaia TV. Also, oh yeah, that's right, he was on Ancient Aliens, I think, or he has some connections there. Not only is he quite known, but he's also very highly intelligent, and he actually passed away not too long ago. And the interesting thing is, I never really hugely followed David Wilcock, but back in the day, you know, because I've been around for a while doing the spiritual thing and being into a bunch of stuff, and including conspiracies and all sorts. And ages ago, like in the 2010s, I watched some of his videos then whatever, didn't for ages. And then just recently, just a matter of weeks, maybe 2 weeks or a week or a few weeks before he passed away, I started watching him again. I randomly downloaded him, as in his name, and looked on his channel and just a little bit watched some of his stuff, saved some of his videos, received some insight and so on through that. Then the news came up on my feed out of nowhere that he passed away, and I felt a great, immense sadness. And I believe that I was meant to see that, because to understand what's going on in the bigger collective, and also in relation to some conspiracies and things like that. It was said on the news that he self-deleted himself. However, I'm with the thought that some other stuff might have been going on. I'll just put it that way. Not so sure that the self part is correct. Or yes, self, but sometimes, and forgive the code, this is just how it goes in the conspiracy world because of all the censorship. I feel like he was infiltrated in some way. Let's just put it that way. But otherwise, a pure soul, and with some angelic in there. Whether or not we don't all have to agree with anything he might have said or not said or believed in, and I didn't even know most of it. I just dropped in, right? To see that. Usually when something is on the news for me to look at, I see it very quickly and straight away, and I gain truth from it. This happened when there was the Grenfell building fire in the UK, when there was the Lahaina fire in Hawaii a year or so, or a couple of years ago. I know that something is going on there that doesn't quite fit, and I happen to see it very quickly on. Another one, actually, interestingly, now that I think about it, is, what is her name? Now, the former partner of Ellen DeGeneres, Anne Hesh. I happen to see that too. I saw literally the very first footage of it, and I knew straight away something was off there. So what happened was, she was driving a little vehicle, drove into a building, and then, I don't know if there was an explosion or something like that, and this was quite a few years ago now. And then they showed the paramedics wheeling her in a mobile bed, and she was zipped up with a foil bag or a blanket or something. I think it was a foil bag, and she just sat up out of nowhere, and she appeared naked. I'm not sure if I remember. I used to know all this stuff. I've forgotten now. But the point is, I saw it straight away. I knew something was off, and it was like they did not want the public to see that. They wanted to believe that she had already passed, perhaps, or something like that. She did end up passing away, perhaps in hospital or something, but things were really off with that one. So pay attention to when you happen to see a news item and you get a feeling, or where you watch it quickly, or you capture the first footage or something like that, and that footage might change later, or the storyline or whatever, and it doesn't add up. That is your intuition, and it is there to show you that there's a greater truth behind it. That has happened to me a lot, and I always trust it. And I know if I'm capturing something early especially, it is for a reason often, when I feel it. Another one would be the Charlie Kirk assassination, and so much is going on with that one. I find it really interesting. So anyway, food for thought. If you've had any incidences like this, pop it down in the comments. I'd love to read them and see what you've experienced.